Let's talk about user requirements. User stories describe the requirements from a user's perspective. In the traditional requirements, in the past, the emphasis was more on the capabilities and constraint of a system. These traditional requirements have evolved, and analysts started adding the user elements to the traditional requirements. This adds clarity to the requirements by describing what a specific user role can do with a software system so they can achieve their desired goals. A user story in Agile is a requirement or a feature or functionality described in the form of a story. The user story explains who, what, and why of a particular requirement. For example, as an authorized user, I want to access manage accounts to add to the beneficiary. This user story will define who is an authorized user, what is manage accounts functionality, and why is it to do add the beneficiary. During the life cycle, these user stories are identified, prioritized, and selected for a sprint for implementing. They are further specified into tasks, estimations, and other detailed related to tasks. In the user stories, who is the user? That is the actor. What is what the users want to do? That is action, which includes steps and sequences to complete a task or process. And why? Why is the user wants desired goal, or what is it benefiting and how is the system reacting? So if your project is 100% agile, then the document which can serve you is product backlog. The product backlog is prioritized backlog containing the end user requirements. It is also prioritized list of features like requirements or bugs, fixes, non-functional requirements that covers a short description of all the functionalities and is desired to be implemented to deliver the working or potentially incrementals of the product softwares. So, product backlog is used or replaced the traditional requirements BRD document or an SRS document. The stakeholders and other team members can add user stories and requirements to the product backlog in the form of a to-do list. Product backlog is enough to start work instead of lengthy formal documentations used in the traditional project management approach, which consists of user stories, priorities, and the estimation of time to be completed. The product backlog is analyzed and reprioritized after every sprint, and based on that, stories are selected for development for the next sprint. So, what are the steps a business analysis takes to create the user stories? A user story includes three key pieces of information: who is what their role is, what is what they need, and in order to support that function, and as a who, what is I want, that why is so that I can have that functionality. So process of creating user stories: validate user needs, like conduct interviews with target users and understand their pain points related to your product's focus. It's necessary to know what problems your target users are facing, but you also must make sure that the solution you provide actually solves that problem. And creating epics. So, an epic is a big user story, a huge level description, a high level description of what your target users can do with that product. And epic contains a collection of small stories and also provide a hierarchy for your project. So, who is the user? What is his intention? What value does he get from? That compasses the writing of user stories, focusing on the user persona. As I told you, the examples. And coming to the acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria is the conditions that a software product must satisfy to be accepted by a user or customer or other stakeholder. Like we have the formula given, when, then for acceptance criteria. Given is given some content. When is some action performed. Then is set of observable outcomes that should occur. So the example of acceptance criteria is ensure the editor is able to log into the content management system, view existing content page, edit and update the page, add markup comments to this, and save changes to the page, reassign to the content owner, schedule the content publishes. All these are the examples for the acceptance criteria.